right, 7 o'clock, we're going to get started. If you could all join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. All right, so we're going to start off with the review of the minutes from the May 21st meeting. Did everyone get a chance to review them? Any questions, comments, corrections? Jen, all good?
I'll be abstaining because I wasn't there.
Okay, well, we don't make a motion on this anyhow, unless. Oh,
right.
So you usually just address the board ed stuff. All right. Hearing none, the minutes are accepted. And public input. Any?
None.
No, but I'd like to make a comment if I could.
Oh, certainly.
I just want to introduce everybody to Galen Brown, who is our new interim director of Parks and Recreation. So she will be attending these meetings with you guys, and you're in good hands. Tonight she will also be doing the reporting and stuff.
Okay. And will you be stepping away from the meetings with this?
Most likely, yes. So if there's a question or something she doesn't know, she's likely going to just tell you that she'll need to check with me and get back to you.
All right. Excellent. Congratulations. All right. So first up, we have Ginger Richardson to present a concept to the Commission regarding a mobile sauna and cold plunge tub in the warmer months at Southport Beach to host the community for a sauna and cold plunge session. Okay. Ginger, I'll mention this to you, and then anyone who presents following, just if you would, please give your name and address for the record.
My name is Ginger Parsons. Actually, it says Richardson on there because that's my business name, but my true legal name is Parsons. I live on 9 Old Mill Road in Fairfield, right up the street, and I am a owner of just launched today, Kim Sauna.
Before Ginger gets into it, I just want to just kind of put on the table why she's here, to approve the concept. I just want to make sure you guys all understand that that's what we would be approving here. We wouldn't actually be approving her business to do this. This would still have to likely go out to bid. If her business is the only one that bids, that's fine, but there are still purchasing guidelines and stuff we have to follow. But you guys would be approving whether or not you even want to entertain having this type of business at one of our beaches or locations. So, sorry.
No, thank you. That's important.
Thank you. Yeah. Just in case everyone's like, what the heck are you talking about? This is my mobile sauna. It's cold on a trailer, and I'll pass this around so you can see it. That is the back. There's a glass door on the back. This will be covered when I'm driving it, so it won't be destroyed. This is the inside. It holds 6 to 8 people, depending on size of people. That's the wood-burning stove that's inside. It's lit with fire, with wood, obviously. I've spoken to fire department, police department, health department. Mark and Anthony were very helpful in making sure I was ticking all the boxes where that's related. Storage for people's items when they come, their shoes. There's a shower on the side if I have a hose hookup. This is Southport Beach, where I was down there like scoping out what it would look like from the view from the inside of the sauna outside through the windows. This is an example of another sauna company that's in Rhode Island, and I can provide other websites for people in Massachusetts, in Maine, in Rhode Island, in Hudson Valley. There's a bunch of businesses now that have mobile saunas. They're doing events, etc. I put a bunch of information on here that anybody's welcome to read if someone's interested afterwards. So basically, I'm a health coach. I've been in the cold plunge and sauna business for the last 3 years. I've had a pop-up tent sauna, and I just recently designed and purchased a mobile, more sturdy unit that is not weather dependent. My tent would fall over and all kinds of problems. I couldn't go anywhere in public with it. It was mostly in private homes. So the intention is for me to host wellness events, which I've already been doing with other local businesses that are wellness related. Working with people in their homes, providing private events. I plan wellness retreats with other wellness providers, so yoga, sound baths, all kinds of different things. There's all different ways. Farms are going to be hosting me. The Westport Farmers Market had me there this spring before I had this beautiful piece of equipment. So for me, I would love from a community perspective, instead of only having it be available privately or partnering with other businesses, there will be some access there to the public to be able to come if I partner with a local business in the sports sector, for instance. But I would love to be at the beach, to have that view, to have people watch sunrise and sunset and do something healthy for their body, for their mind. They don't have their phones. They're connected to each other. It's a community. That's why I called it kin, as in you're my kin. And that's where my passion lies, is actually creating a space for people to come and be in community and be healthy and do something other than out drinking and eating and being on their phone.
This is your business, and this is a for-profit business.
This is a for-profit business. Yes, that doesn't mean that I won't be donating time and all of that to, opportunities that come up, but yes, definitely for-profit.
And away from the wellness events and these other events that would similar to the private events you've been doing, but now down at the beach, it would be your intent to keep this facility at the beach?
No. I would just come down there for whatever is deemed, whatever day, whatever time, whatever hours. I would love to sit and say I could start with one day a week on a Friday morning, for instance, and offer it 3 or 4 hours between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. type thing. People would then go on my website where there's a booking platform, and they'd be able to book an hour session. I hold 6 people. They would come down in their swimsuits. They could, in the wintertime, they'd be able to cold plunge in the water. I mean, I have a cold plunge group that meets every Friday at Jennings Beach. I know there's multiples of these that happen on Sundays. I would love to be able to, especially in the winter, provide a sauna situation so that they can do contrast therapy back and forth. But in the summer months, if it, Anthony and I were talking about parking, and he had identified a potential spot. I was down there looking at around where the restrooms are and the lifeguard hut. I could potentially pull off and not use a parking spot, but it would be for whatever hours everyone's comfortable with, to start out with. And if it goes really well, we could expand on that. If it comes in the fall and that's the most comfortable time of year to start because the beaches aren't as busy, that's okay too. And I also spoke to Anthony about, a potential partnership. I know there's yoga at the beach that goes on the Parks and Rec website and as an offering. I would be willing to discuss that. I just want to partner with my town and have a really great community benefit for everyone.
I'll ask one more question and open it up to everyone. So you mentioned that there are things like this in a variety of different places, Rhode Island, maybe you don't know the answer to this, but for example, in Rhode Island, the beach where this is located, are there other for-profit trucks or buildings or operations?
I've not been to see that in person, but from what I can see on their Instagram account, there is no one there. I think it's what I'm seeing is it's a stretch of beach where that was this photograph here, so it kind of gives you a bit of an idea. They are able to pull up horizontally facing, they have a window just like mine that faces the ocean. I've never seen anything around them. So I'm not entirely sure. I know that doesn't seem to be a big parking lot. I think people pull up along the road and get out and go into her sauna. So I don't know.
Chris?
Okay. I love the concept, but this is directed to Bridget. I've had quite a few mornings at Penfield, coffee and emails, and then seeing you out there. So I'd love to hear how does that work? You have groups, right, that go out on the beach?
Yep.
So can you just enlighten me?
It's a little different because we rent the Penfield deck for our classes. But it's 90% of the time it doesn't affect anyone else, and it's welcomed.
And then can I direct a question back to you? The concept, hours, are you just going to try to figure it out as you go, or do you have something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically looking at what other businesses are doing in the country, and these businesses are very much in Scandinavia, have been for a very long time, so it's fairly new for us here. Yeah. So looking at businesses, it seems to be some of them, that this woman in Rhode Island, she's there for the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I would have to have 2 saunas to be able to do that because of my events and retreats, and I wouldn't literally be able to I'd have to stick a sauna there and be like, now I can't go do anything else. But that's a good problem to have if I got to that point. But I would be willing to say, yeah, like early morning, most people go to work out. They want to come cold plunge before they work out. They want a sauna after. They do both together. I know the cold plunge groups that I'm part of, we would love to, everyone's constantly asking, even with the tent sauna, can't you just bring it to the beach? I'm like, no, I can't bring it to the beach. Where we would all get in the water and you all get out. We could get in the sauna for 10 or 15 minutes and cycle that. I could offer that as free to the groups that are cold plunging. I mean, there's all kinds of creative ways to do it. But as far as hours, I see it as starting out as morning, like fairly early in the morning, and then maybe a sunset situation, and I guess that depends on the time of year. If it's during beach pass season, early morning and evening, it's not in the hot heat of the day, maybe on a Friday, and then in the winter, I think it could be any time of day.
Yeah, that was my only concern was in terms of, 10 to 6.
Oh, yeah.
Like on a weekend or even weekdays now in the summer if
Yeah.
the weather gets nice parking-wise.
Yeah.
But if you're working with Park and Rec in terms of finding a spot.
Yeah. So I think, that's up for a conversation about where I would be parked.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I love the fact that it's from a mental health perspective that you're launching this. I think it's phenomenal to give back to the community as well. Brian, a question for you. I know we had Range Rover Land Rover that was here and was trying to do something at Jennings, was it?
Yeah, 2 months ago.
But obviously for profit, and I think we had some concerns.
Yes.
And I think there was a chart for that as well.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I just don't understand how, to have, this is new, have a conversation. It's not a food truck, but it's like a food truck, whether it's a fee per hour, whether it's a percentage. I mean, I'm open to all these conversations. I mean, obviously it's brand new for me, so I don't even know yet what this is.
Yeah.
How many people are going to come
And
per
I
hour?
think that's part of like the purchasing aspect of it. Again, the town would have to identify what they want to do. But again, right now we can't do it because our rules, it's against our rules, right? We say there's no private businesses allowed to be run on town property. But if we were to put out to bid that we were looking for a sauna company to come in and do cold plunges and saunas from, I'm making this up, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., Monday to Friday, we'd put that out to bid and see, hey, does anybody offer, and again, like the companies would then come back and say, sure, I'd love to do that. And to do that, I'm willing to pay you, and I'm throwing numbers out, $500 a week. And that's how we would generate money. It's very similar to how we do our food trucks, very similar to how we do our concessions at our beaches now. So that again, she was mentioning possible partnerships, right? Like if we decided as a group that, we like this and maybe we wanted to incorporate it into community services or parks and recreation, we could always go that route too. So there's different ways to attack it, but it's just, again, the concept, is it something we would even want at the beach?
And yes, to your question, I did have an issue with the Range Rover, and as well as the name is escaping me, that we have at Jennings with the
Mind Travel.
Mind Travel, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic one. I loved it.
I have no doubt that this, and I have no doubt that what you're proposing is wonderful as well.
Yeah.
My concern is the for-profit are at our location.
Mm-hmm.
And
So-
are we identifying it as such because it will be on the stands as opposed to the parking lot?
Yeah, so we run the parking lots too. So in all transparency, right, like she couldn't pull up to the parking spot there and park her mobile sauna. However, if there was public parking that wasn't permit only or wasn't on the beach, like down a little further on the road and where they allow public parking, I believe you would be treated just like a food truck.
Yeah.
So she could pull up and just do what she wants to do. Or if she wanted to park on South Benson, again, where public parking was allowed, she could do that.
Yeah.
Not as nice of a view, but.
Yeah, well, that's like, for me, it's more, I can do that, intend to do that, partner with other businesses that are like, pull up in my private parking lot or be out on the street for 2 hours. But, yeah, the whole idea of the beach is just, like, this is happening whether I do the beach or not, but I just would love to be able to be at the beach. For me, it's the whole experience of people walking up and being able to be at our town property and do something that's great for their bodies
Yeah.
and great for the community.
Yeah,
That's,
it's totally different than just being on the road.
yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
So I have been a cold plunge facilitator, instructor, coach for the last 3 years. Then I got my mobile sauna that was the tent about a year and a half ago, and this is now iteration 3.0.
So focusing on a year and a half with the tent,
Mhm.
how many events do you host? Is that the right word?
Well, because of the
Host or run or-
volatility of the tent, if it rains too hard, if it's snowing, if it's windy above 11 miles per hour, I can't do it. It really hinders my ability to do that. So I have other wellness things I have my hands in to keep everything going together. But every time I host an event, people are begging, I want to come, I want to do this more often. Can you come to my house? Can you be partners in my business? Always asking. And I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I've done enough market research to understand there's a demand for this. And in my world, if you could see my Instagram page, I mean, it's the idea of having something at a beach that's permanent, that's also happening. So I'm a mobile sauna. There are beaches in the country that are having a full-time sauna provider who has designed and built with the town, partnered with them, and is running a sauna and cold plunge business at the beach that's a fixed building. So this is kind of like dipping my toe in the water, and who knows where it goes. But, I mean, that would be a dream of mine, to be able to partner with the town and provide an amenity at a beach. I know that's a big thing to say out loud, but that would be amazing to be able to do that. So that's why being part of the town that I live in and be able to say this is what I'm providing means a lot to me.
Director question, if we were to approve the concept and not the approval, how does it go up the flagpole from here?
Well, I would work with our purchasing department on what specifications we would want to put out there. So again, like if you guys said, you know what, yeah, we like the idea, but we don't want it during the beach season. We only want it in the off season. We only want it on these days, these times. Those are things I would work with purchasing on to say, this is what we're looking for. And then again, when we put that out, that's what the companies would be responding to.
And does that go to your subcommittee, or is it, no, it's among us all? Okay.
No, there's no subcommittee there.
Well, the rules committee, I guess, but
No,
all right.
it's not a rule.
All right,
It's not a rule.
got it. Yeah. I think so.
Tim, Jen?
I could buy the concept similar to what Anthony just described there to start with and see how it goes, and certain times of the year, certain times of the day.
I would be in favor of not putting restrictions on the times of the days, because how would we know what works and what doesn't work if we don't just open it up? And there's literally not a better idea on the table here. Like, it sounds amazing.
I agree.
What the typical time frame from creating the RFP, working with purchasing, and then putting it out there for bids to come in, and then reviewing the bids? What would your estimated time frame from beginning to end? We may be looking at Labor Day anyhow.
Oh, definitely. It would not happen before Labor Day, for sure. It's going to take, I'm looking at the phone because it has the date on it, probably the next 2 to 3 weeks just working on the specs. Then they're going to put it out to bid for another probably at least 2 to 3 weeks. They're going to review it, depending on how many submissions they get. That might take them a week. So, yeah, I mean, we're late August.
So in theory, the approval could be a combination of what the two of you, without the restriction, but it would, if we move forward, it probably would start in the fall, and we could, in theory, put a limitation on it. We're going to approve it for a 6-month period to review, at which point we will come back and review it again, which will bring us into next summer season.
Yeah, review it before the start of the summer season, I agree.
Right. I just think from a timing point of view, that kind of gives us the ability to operate with 20/20 hindsight to it. See if it was
All right?
Yep.
So to be clear, if the concept gets approved, it goes through purchasing, little to no competition, no matter what, it comes back to us before any other details are worked out, or is that something town purchasing determines? Like, a Friday 7 to 10 a.m.,
Yeah,
only unrestricted, like, who decides that?
Well, I think you guys could set that, if you wanted to put a 6-month time limit on it now, you could say that, and that's, we would incorporate that into the, to the RFP
But if we didn't
itself.
right now, if we just said concept approved, you get selected in the RFP, it wouldn't come back here? The
No.
town would decide it then?
Yeah, the department would at that point, right? We would, because there wouldn't be any other restrictions on it.
Yeah, we're establishing the parameters.
That's what
But
I'm saying. So we're not getting two bites at the apple.
When the bids come in, per the parameters that we established, purchasing department is going to say, I like this for this reason or that for that reason. So, and probably, like I said, probably not going to be a whole lot of bids coming in, I would assume, not knowing the business.
Mm-hmm. I'm aware of one sauna company that's in Hudson Valley that rents the sauna, but it literally drops it off to you for a day or 2 days or a week. There's no guided situation or setup. But you never know.
So if we were to make a motion to approve the concept, if someone wanted to make a motion, you'd have to stipulate what the parameters are. And I think if we are assuming that this doesn't take place with the approval until after Labor Day, we don't have to establish very detailed parameters except for a 6-month trial. Because if it's going to be after Labor Day, we don't necessarily have to state that it's on Fridays and Saturdays only, or 6 to 10 a.m. or anything like that. So I think we could be more general with the parameters, including a time period, months.
I'll make a motion.
I see you jumping all over that.
thought I was going to.
So.
I just didn't want to say it.
All right.
Or-
Yeah, I know it's a lot, so bear with me here. I will make the motion for the concept regarding a mobile sauna and cold plunge tub beginning on the Tuesday after no, just beginning after Labor Day. This is why I wanted you. Okay.
The only time I would need the tub is if the water in the ocean was not cold enough to consider a cold plunge. So usually October on, the water is so cold that I don't need to have the cold plunge. That's why we didn't see pictures of it. No, there is. In the summertime, because then people want to get really cold, and I have a compressor.
Early stage. And there's no, I don't have to go to purchasing on this. All right. Okay, so I'm going to make the motion to approve the concept regarding a mobile sauna and cold plunge tub in warmer months at Southport Beach on the earliest date beginning after Labor Day in 2025.
Okay. I'll second it. Can we add for a 6-month trial?
And it is a 6-month trial. Do I have to redo this again?
A friendly amendment. It's
Yeah,
fine,
friendly.
right?
Really? Okay, so that's the amendment. There we go. Thank you. That was a lot of words, so.
Okay, so can you bring it back to us?
So Chris made a motion to approve the concept of the mobile sauna and the cold plunge tub at the earliest date available following Labor Day 2025 for a 6-month trial.
There we go. Thank you. Yes, you should be giving.
Okay, and we have a second. Now it's back to the commission for discussion.
Okay. Cold plunge tub, that's not incorporated, correct?
So I was just saying that the only way that that works into the situation is if it's hot outside. So basically from October till May, which
Okay.
is kind of the season we're sort of focusing on now.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't need a cold plunge tub because people would just be expected to go get in the ocean.
Yeah.
So that completely takes that off the table.
Okay.
But if it was, for instance, now
Now.
till October, the water's too warm to constitute a cold plunge. It has to be below 60 degrees.
Mhm.
So then I have a portable tub that has a compressor that cleans the water, filters the water, and keeps it at a certain temperature.
Okay.
So that would go alongside the sauna if it was deemed like next summer.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we're ready to have this in the summer. I would then be able to bring that. Now I would need access to water to fill that, which is why Southport was another great benefit for me because there's a hose. I went and checked everything out. There's a spigot and a hose there that I could fill the tub with right from the facility.
Got it.
On those hot days.
Okay.
Two points. Including that does not impact anything negatively at this point, and it positions us more easily to extend following the 6 months.
Yes.
If we are, so that way we don't have to come back and recreate the parameters
Yes.
and, go back out. Yeah. Sorry, Joseph.
Not knowing. So is that going to be inside or outside?
Outside.
Outside, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any comments from the public?
Good job.
Anybody want to say anything?
I just returned from Oslo and Bergen, Norway,
Ah,
so
okay,
I've
so you
seen what you're
understand it.
talking about.
They have it in the town.
They're permanent
They're
there.
permanent, yeah. And people leave their lunch break and go sauna and shower and go back
Yeah.
to work. Very,
That's
very
why I
common.
We're going to bring it back to the
Lunch
commission.
break.
Sure.
You guys can talk afterwards
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
want.
sure.
Okay, so, all those in favor on the commission? All right,
Thank you.
hope this works for you.
Thank you very much.
So you'll
Thank you.
obviously be
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
working with them.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Next up, Audrey Med, Secretary of OCD CP Chapter, requests to hold their second OCD CP 1 million steps for OCD on Saturday, October 18th, with the setup starting 9 a.m. and walk officially starting at 10 a.m., which should run to around noon at Jennings Beach.
Audrey is on the phone.
Yes, I'm on the phone. Thank you for having me on the phone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I apologize for having to be on the phone. I was working late and wouldn't have been able to get over there. So last year we held our inaugural OCD 1 million steps for OCD walk. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. It's a mental health condition. It's essentially characterized by intrusive images or intrusive thoughts that one would perform compulsions. So OCD Connecticut is the state affiliate of the IOCDF, which is the International OCD Foundation. And every year in cities across the country, they hold the 1 million steps for OCD walk. So we would be looking to hold our second walk at Jennings Beach on October 18th, which falls during Mental Health Awareness OCD Week, I believe. Last year we were approved and we had a small walk. We had about 30 people show up, which was a lot for us. It was a very successful walk. We had beautiful weather, and we raised about $3,000 for the organization. So that was excellent. And we're looking to do the walk again this year. Difference from last year to this year is that we'd probably have a few more people. So we're looking at more like 50 people. We probably would have a grand marshal, so we'd have a speaker system to kick off the walk. And we probably would ask some vendors to come, so we'd set up in the parking lot of Jennings Beach and just do I believe in the proposal I put the map, which is the same as last year. So that's basically what we're looking for. It would we'd get there at 9, we'd start at 10, we'd end by 12. We actually ended by around 11 last year, but we put 12 just in case there's any people lingering. And that's basically our walk. It's small but we're thriving, so we're doing good.
Audrey, you were the one who presented to us last year,
I did, yes.
and weren't you supposed to bring your daughter back this time?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Supposed to bring.
Isn't that what I requested? I might not be able to support this if your daughter's not here.
I was trying to put it together.
My dog? Is that?
No, your daughter. Was it?
Oh, I don't have. Oh no, that was the girl that went before me.
Oh yes, yes.
I don't have a daughter. That's what I was saying. My dog, because I do have a dog. His name is Scooby. No, she was a sweet girl. She was very sweet. The girl that presented before me, and then there was a breast cancer walk that. So I was there after her. No, we don't. I don't have children.
All right, that's. I apologize for saying that.
No worries.
Anyone have any questions for Audrey? Nope. And would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
Discussion? Anything from the public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? All right, Audrey, you're all set.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bridget. Take care.
I appreciate it. Take care. All right, bye-bye.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. I'm embarrassed. Chris, before I said that, I confirmed with Bridget that.
Yeah.
No, it was in the back of my mind as well. It's like I remember some sweet little girl.
Okay. Next up, Tim Belzer on behalf of Fairfield Solid Waste and Recycling Commission to request to place food waste containers at Lake Mohegan and Brookside Drive.
Okay. I'm Tim Besler. I live at 178 Glengarry Road here in Fairfield, Woodfield Village Condominiums. I'm the chair of the Solid Waste and Recycling Commission. And I was here in March to talk about two of the idea of having a remote food waste drop-off in secure bins at the Lake Mohegan parking lot. At that time, there were still some unanswered questions, and you tabled the motion. When I came in March, the idea was to put these two containers as far away from the fence as possible, and they actually were by the woods as you first drive into Lake Mohegan parking lot. We ended up going to the Conservation Commission. They had some issues with that. Since that time, I have, there's a couple things going on. Becky Funnell is here, by the way, with Sustainable Fairfield. She and I have been working on a grant application for an in-vessel composting system here in Fairfield for food waste, which would involve about 10 of these containers. But we won't, the application is next week, and we won't know until later in the year. In the meantime, we've had a meeting with the first selectmen and their staff, and we were asked to proceed with getting 2 of these containers at some place in town so that we can find out what the real demand is for people who want to separate their food waste and have it somewhat convenient for them. Because the problem right now is if you want to separate your food waste and take it to the transfer station, you're limited to, first of all, the hours that the transfer station is open, and for a lot of people that means a very long drive. I mean, personally, it's about 6 miles from me. The other thing that happened since our meeting, I went and I visited West Hartford. This is two-sided. Who has 4 of these containers. They installed 4 of these remote containers of exactly the kind that we're talking about. They're called MetroStore. They're metal containers. They're secure. The only way you can open them is to have to pre-register and have an app on your phone, and you have 1 minute to put the food waste in, and then it's operated with a foot pedal. I talked to Catherine Bruns today, who's the recycling director up there, and they've had so much success with this that they've gone from picking up the food waste 1 day a week to 3 times a week because it's getting full so quickly, and they're going to be ordering a lot more of these. But certainly here in Fairfield, and also as part of the looking into multiple remote containers around town, we drove around and looked at various sites around town. I think we looked at 5, 6, 7 of them. But I believe the most centrally located ones for people that are interested in this would be, in fact, at Lake Mohegan, and then along Brookside Drive. Now, I sent these ahead of time. I don't know how many of you have seen them, but I'll pass out a couple of photos here. There are two. Number one, at this point, based on West Hartford's experience, where they put these bins right at their, one is right at their town hall, and 2 are in parks. For Lake Mohegan, what looks to be the most logical place is the first photograph there that shows the. And I took a board out with me. That's the width of the foundation for these containers to make sure that it fits wherever we were looking at. There's one empty place there that has a no parking in front of it, which is be a convenient place for people to stop and drop off their food waste, and also for the truck, for the hauler to pick it up and take it away. We also went to Brookside Drive, and Brookside is even more centrally located. There are a number in the photos. I think there are 3 or 4 potential locations that would also work. Obviously, this is all on town property. So I wanted to present this and find out what your thoughts are about. First of all, would either of these locations be acceptable? And of the choices within the 2 locations, what would you think would be the ideal? For instance, you could also along the fence line at Lake Mohegan, you already have there's a porta-john at one point, and there's trash and recycle at another. So there's precedent for putting this something like this could go right next to one of them if it doesn't go in that one area.
The bins that you're talking about, are they going to look like this?
They're going to look like that. We may take the option of having a graphic panel on it, which would actually give people some directions. We're going to have an if this is approved, we're going to have a public education program starting right away to make sure people know what these are, how to do it. I know we'll probably have a website just like West Hartford does to tell you how to go online and sign up for this. And we would have a record of the company, MetroStore, would keep a record of whoever's signing up, and we would have access to that. No one in the town would have to have a list of people to approve. Not to approve, but have a list of people to go out and. No one here in the town would have to do anything to have people sign up. They would sign up online. They'd have to put their address in there and have to agree with the terms and conditions. But we would have someone, whoever is designated, would have access to this to make sure no one's cheating.
Okay. So back to this.
Yeah.
This has it's a green color. It kind of settles into the landscape,
yep.
As opposed to a big metallic steel color. So is this what you're proposing?
Yeah, basically.
Possibly with a panel or something like that.
Yeah, I think I've seen different photographs they have of other towns that have they have their own graphics, they have their own messages and things like that. I mean, the town of Fairfield would be on the side of it. But we'd make sure whatever it isn't anything loud and obnoxious. It would knowing nothing else, it would look like this.
And one of the big issues that we had when you were first here was, and you seem to have addressed that, which takes Anthony's office, Galen's office out of the mix. How are, if I go on, or someone from Easton, for example, goes on to register, and they put my address, how are they going to block someone like that?
Well, that's a good question, and if someone goes on and lies, I don't know that unless we went through that and if your name showed up, for instance, and it was someone from Easton.
We're gonna track it back to the permit. You actually have to have a town transfer station or beach permit in order to use these, so you would have had to have been part of the town to get that permit. So we're gonna actually have it tracked back to that.
And how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be manual. We're gonna either have volunteers do that, or we're gonna have the company do that.
But then now, what I just said, that brings the Parks and Rec office back into the mix. Because then, if that's the case, they're going to have to provide that list on an ongoing basis to this third party who's going to be checking it.
We probably would need you to do a printout for us, and track for the transfer station also issues permits.
Well,
we need a list from the transfer station.
I've talked to John Cattell about this, and he, first of all, he's going to have a part-time person to oversee this. This is going to be done by the Solid Waste Recycling Department, No, to answer you, we're not going to involve. We're not going to have to involve anyone. You're the one that has the list of the beach stickers and all that. We're not going to have to involve you in that.
Well, then
to answer your question,
we can't get to that answer without this.
Exactly. Right. We issue those 35,000 stickers.
Exactly. I know that.
Right. So
what is the question?
How are you going to tie back the people on your list to our list of 35,000 people?
Well, the list is going to be held by MetroStore, and we're going to have access to the list. Now, in the sign-up, it's going to be very clear that you have to be a resident of Fairfield and you have to have a beach sticker. Now, to answer your question, if presumably someone could lie about that, but they're going to have their email and their phone number as well, understand? So that's one way to check this, unless, of course, if they steal your email and your phone, that's fraud.
Okay, that's really not that relevant. I mean, how are you going to verify someone is on this list without getting the office involved and verify? I don't understand what having the email or telephone number is how that's going to get us.
If someone is, I can't answer that absolutely, but if someone is a suspect, we see this list and there's someone, we would call them, someone in the department or a commission would call them and ask them for the number of their beach sticker. We don't have to go or the license number, basically get their license number. I want to say one thing. I've asked both the director up in Manchester, who's had these for a couple of years now, and West Hartford, if they've had any issues with, I specifically asked about contamination, I specifically asked about animals. They have more bears in West Hartford than we do. They've had no issues at all up there with that. And frankly, they have about, what did you say, they had about almost 600 people sign up. Everyone I've talked to, I can't say absolutely someone's not going to cheat on this, but everyone I've talked to tells me that these are people that really want to do this. This is not an opportunity. I don't know what. And the other thing is, and I think I mentioned this before, if someone does, and the concern with the department is if someone does actually go in and start putting trash in here, that'll be the next time they go to the food waste hauler comes in, we'll hear about that. And we will have a record of anyone that has gone in there in the last X number of days, so that we could use that to help find out who's cheating on this. But that has not been a problem elsewhere.
I apologize for my ignorance on this, but why do they have to have a beach sticker? Like, if it's that, they're not going into the lake, but
this is their decision. I don't know.
To answer your question,
to
answer your question, that is not. I know that the department says, we don't want people using this as a way. Well, first of all, you can't take food waste to the transfer station without a beach sticker now, without a transfer station.
Right, correct. Transfer station.
So I think the concern is, someone that lives in the northern part of town that doesn't go to the transfer station and doesn't have a beet sticker, might use, they said we like to make sure that they have that. I don't know that there's a mechanism to do that, but I don't know why someone would. First of all, I don't know why someone wouldn't have a beet sticker.
Well, no, I just don't understand caring. Like, I wouldn't care if somebody from Easton wanted to recycle their food. I mean, that's neat.
More power to you.
Yeah. So so this is something that was not your idea. It's something that the transfer station wants.
They want to make sure that they get, not only in food waste, but especially in recycle, they get a lot of contamination down there. I think they're concerned that someone from another town is just going to somehow abuse this. But I mean, frankly, yes, if someone wants, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Jen,
but
the key here is the cost. That's what solid waste and recycling is worried about. It is very expensive to empty this and transport food waste. So that's the issue. So they don't want non-residents coming in, because non-residents can't use our transfer station. So they wouldn't want them using these either because of the cost. Again, I think you mentioned it in your last presentation that it is expensive. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I've heard John Cattell talk about it. I believe that that's the reason.
Well, the cost of, right now, the cost of food waste per ton is about 3 times what it is trash per ton. That's because we only have 22 tons a year of food waste being dropped off, and there's 33,000 tons of, general trash going to Bridgeport. I don't think in the foreseeable future, handling food waste separately from trash is more expensive than trash. But I think that obviously the state priority now is to get as much food waste out of the trash as we can, because it doesn't burn as well and it goes to beneficial use. So we're not going through this to try to reduce costs today, but I think eventually the more trash, the more food waste we get out of trash, the better things will be. But it's a priority. A lot of other towns are doing this, and it's something that we're doing, and of course all the schools now are separating their food waste, and that is certainly part of what we're going after this composting for.
So could there be something arranged where if they sign up with MetroStar, that involves a fee, like completely separate and apart, and that fee came back to Fairfield, so no one had to worry about the transfer?
Well, I can tell you that in talking to HRA, what's her name? Jenny and Joe. Unfortunately, up there, Housatonic operates. They're in charge of 14 towns, Newtown, and all that area up there. And they did have a pilot program some years ago where people could do this for free. Once they started charging, it dropped off. I mean, that's human nature, I guess.
The total cost of the town right now of our transfer station is around $6,000. We've actually got another caller who we're going to try to multiple bid. It's coming in for $4,000. We're not talking massive amounts of money here. These 2 remotes.
No, I care about the list. This whole cross-referencing the list is the problem. So I'm trying to not.
Well, we could choose not to.
Sorry, I know Anthony's trying to jump in.
Well, I just have a question because it's been mentioned that all the schools do this. So if all the schools do this already, where is their food waste going? Who collects it?
Right now, it says all the elementary schools, and I think
so that's 11.
3 middle schools,
3 middle
first grade, all 11 elementary schools collect it. It gets taken right now up to Quantum Biopower, and it's hauled by Kirkland.
So why wouldn't it make sense then to invest in these at the schools? And then you have 11 locations or 14 locations. You keep the 3 middle schools in the different neighborhoods on the different sides of town, and then you don't have to be here at all.
I would love to have them at the schools, but the schools are very sensitive to having.
Yeah, I think we are too.
Also, the school program is completely flawed because they do it for all the grades, and then kindergarten comes in and they say kindergarten doesn't do this, and they use the exact same bins. So
It's like recycling.
Well, I was like, I'm never volunteering for this again.
I think one of the reasons that we've talked about the schools. One of the reasons you're going to have issues, people coming in when the buses are coming in 2 times a day, and also security. Schools generally don't want people driving in but
if you put one at Fairfield Woods out on the curb, people are just driving up. I mean, it's not any different to me than Brookside Drive, where
Could it
it's
even be
on the
locked?
curb.
Like
They are locked.
Oh, they are
No,
locked.
I mean, so that lock
Has
as
to
in
carve
you
out,
can't open them during school hours, so
Mhm.
part of it's on a school site, but not during school hours, which would be done because you have to go into the app to get it to open in that minute. If it's just machine can't open during school hours.
Can I ask a question? So is your concern, because you're saying put it on school property, so you don't
Really, all I
deal with
cared
it.
about was the 35,000 trying to not have that be an
So
issue.
I don't want you guys to have to do extra work. I think that's the key. We do not want you to have to cross-reference. We don't want your staff to have to cross-reference. We don't want a lot of staff time. But John Cookhill did ask that we made sure somehow that we checked that that people had a sticker.
Well,
So we're trying, our best way to think about that is just, either we can take it on trust and do gut checks, which we could go back to John and try to get his okay on that. But the stickers are tied to your license plate. So if they put your address down, but it wasn't your license plate.
I'm thinking that.
How much of an effort, and I'm not asking your office to do more work, but how much of an effort is that all online, a database that could be sent to this company?
The problem is the database changes every day.
I understand, but
Right.
it would be as of a certain time, and you're not going to update this every day, but...
We can also do it once a month, too, so that we, I don't want to take...
No,
Are we, you know, we're not talking
if we're
about
just
someone-
if we're just sending an email that has 35,000 plates in it, and they're trying to figure it out, I mean, I don't think that would take much effort. If we were searching through it for the 600 or so people that are going to register, we're not doing it, right?
So in theory, it wouldn't be too difficult.
No.
And we can establish a timetable and say, it's got to be a list as of June 1st, or, pick a date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's feasible.
I honestly don't think that.
Chris had a question, then we'll show.
Yeah, so no stickers. If you have the app, all right, anybody that downloads this app clearly is going through the effort. They're into this. There's not going to be a lot of chicanery or nefarious elements out there. And I'm in favor of the schools. If you could limit it to weekends and after hours, or, specific, like, I'm leaving a note of that. There we go. So
Of course, I think that if we were going to limit it to schools, then we got to go to the Board of Education.
Of course it would.
Yeah.
But I do like the two spots though.
What do we think about that?
They're very sensitive about it.
They are.
Parents on school property.
Well, we do have a representative of the Board of Ed.
She's on the board.
On our commission.
Yeah, so it's, during school hours would be a non-starter,
Well,
right? But that's common sense. I mean, you already know that.
Well,
So-
but you say it's a non-starter, but frankly, when I'm retired, so when I go down to I want to go down to the transfer station, not during busy time. I don't want to go when everyone else is going. So I'm not sure that, I think the idea is people that want to do this, want to do it, they don't want to make all the drive, but they also want to do it at their convenience. And the whole idea with this is that it's a 24/7 with the security of the app. So, but yeah.
There's got to be a quid pro quo going on.
I'm with Chris, right? As far as all these plates being transferred, I'm more worried about security. 35,000, pieces of information going across. I don't know where it's going. Names, numbers, plates, addresses. I don't know. I have a concern with that. So I'm hoping if there's a way of solution that we can do this without plates and stickers. If there's a validation process that somebody else owns, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I very honestly, I can't imagine. I personally would not want to once a month. First of all, West Hartford has 600 people that have signed up, and that's a town the same size. We have 65,000. We're not looking at thousands people. And frankly, I don't believe that we need, unless we get abuse, unless we get non-food in these containers. I don't think there's any reason for anyone to go back and look at it. We'll always have it available for us, but the idea that someone is going to sit down and cross-check this list with Anthony's list, I don't think that's going to happen. But the key is, if there is abuse, especially if we have two pickups a week. By the way, West Hartford has all gone to 3 pickups a day. They're going to order. If we're doing 1 or 2 a week, if we get some bad stuff in one of these bins, we can go back and find out exactly who was there at what time, and then start doing some research. But again, no one has had any serious problem with that.
So given West Hartford is probably the closest town in Connecticut, similar to Fairfield, if there's only 600, I think you're right. I don't think we have to worry too much. Maybe you can, have them put their driver's license in so they think that it's, and the address. So that probably takes that off it. So let me ask you, assuming that we're not going to get the Board of Ed to agree to this, this location at Lake Mohegan, which the initial location just inside
the opposite side of the parking lot, which Conservation lost their mind about.
Right, and I drove up there the next day. I was like, there's no way, there's no room there to put that. But what about this location? What do you think about that?
I'm not thrilled about it, but it could work. I mean, that's an old cutout from when we just replaced the gate that used to be the access way.
Or is there another location on like the backside of the parking lot?
That hill would be tough.
So I think we went to the opposite side that the Conservancy has a problem with because it's away from everybody. These pictures here, it's
right along the beach.
It's right along the beach, and then over by the trash can and that's it. There's a million dogs that walk through there too. So I don't know if that's an issue having.
Oh, they might smell it, but they can't get at it.
Is there a smell?
I'm told that there's not. I mean, it's closed. What happens is you go and you do your app and you use the foot pedal. And you use the foot pedal because they don't have to use a lot of energy. So it opens and then automatically closes in 60 seconds. So people will open they'll put their trash in and it closes again. And my understanding is it's not.
There's a time for smell because we call it often enough that you're constantly taking it away.
Maybe we can take a drive up there. See what? Yeah.
The one thing I like about that as well is that it's an area that someone can eat. There's a no parking area, so you can easily pull up and take your trash. The trucks can pick them up easily. The only reason I like that I like Brookside better, it is more central to town, but it's not a big deal. It's not that far from.
Well, I for one hate option number 2 in Brookside.
Which one was that?
That's the one right in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right at the bottom of my street.
You gotta recuse yourself.
No, I'm not going to recuse myself. But also, those trash cans are movable, and to put something that's permanent right there doesn't make sense. The location close to the Mill Plain would seem to be more sensible to me.
Because there's already
you have that, or there's the pullout, and I meant to stop there on the way down. The pullout that's on the other side of the street from the Abad. That's it's actually
tough traffic-wise. Like
you like pull over.
It's got a big pullover.
It does?
Yeah. On the other side, right near the river.
Where the boats can go in?
No.
Below that.
No.
All right.
Above, so it's if you were coming from Mill Plain, it actually doesn't, there's no address there because you go over the bridge, Brookside makes a right, and St. Mortar makes a left at the top of the hill. So in between where Brookside makes a right and St. Mortar turns where the Chabad is, across the street.
I ride my bike past there all the time.
Right at the base of the hill, there's a big pull-off area that backs up to the river.
Didn't think about
that. I don't know if there's space there, but that would be away from, the problem is there's hundreds and hundreds of walkers who go by these locations on a daily basis. That would not be impacted by walkers, or walkers would not be impacted if it was over there.
Well, actually, the one place that I like really good, the best at Brookside would be right next to the clothing drop off on the church parking lot. But now we have to go to the
That's
church.
not
I'm sticking with town property.
One more question, sorry. Is this completely enclosed because you're talking about food waste, liquid coming out? So like, is that completely?
No, inside of that container is a standard 65-gallon tote.
Okay.
And they actually they'll put a compostable liner in the tote. So when it gets picked up, they have a key to open this thing up. They take the tote out, they dump it in their truck, and then they put it back. Yeah. So there's no there's a solid bottom in there. There's no way that the liquid's going to get out.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't being facetious when I said maybe we should take a drive over to Lake Mohegan or Brookside and look at these spots.
Yeah, we can.
You're willing to do it.
Yeah.
Our goal, just to give you a sense though, is we'd love more walkers to actually see it, because we think the more people that see it, the more people that might want to sign up for it. So for us, we actually like the fact that people would be walking by it at Lake Mohegan, and they would see it, they would say, hey, I've always wanted to compost my food waste. And it gives people a chance to do that.
Yeah, this is what, there's a standard bin inside of this. That's what's nice about this. It's basically securing a secure cover for the standard bins.
Thank you.
What happens if somebody pulls up to it and it's full and they have food?
Well, matter of fact, in talking to Catherine today up at West Hartford, she said that's what's been happening up there. They have one at Town Hall, and people go up and open it up, and it's full. Okay, so I guess they either go away or they try to close it. This is why they've had to have more frequent pickups. And by the way, the bins have a sensor in that alerts you to when they're full. I mean, she knew that this was full, and it's what she's done after the first few weeks is she makes sure someone goes and takes care of it. And we're going to have to. That's one of the reasons we want to have two at one location to see how this goes, and then I think no matter where else we put the other locations, we'll always have two there, which will help prevent a problem like that.
Maybe the app can alert the clients that it is already full, so they don't have to drive up to it.
Well, because it's got a fill sensor that Tim mentioned that we have part-time staff who'd be monitoring that. It's an online monitor, and then it tells you when it's 80% full, so they know to schedule pickup. And having two, if one's 80% full, the other's probably and not showing full, so that they can always put it in the other one. And we need to then get it scheduled to that pickup, and that's what that staff person would do.
Yeah.
And that's my concern, that someone comes full and they just leave the bag there.
Well, I mean, there's nothing. Yeah, I to answer your question, nothing.
Yeah, I know. I see that all the time when I'm walking my dog.
Yeah.
People pick up after the dog, and then they just leave the bag.
At Lake Mohegan, this goes to Lake Mohegan. This is going to be. They're all going to be on top of this. No doubt about it. They will be.
All right. Any other questions or any thoughts?
I love the idea. The placement of it, I like the places you picked. I hear your point. I'm not suggesting in any way to put it at the bottom of your street. But I love the thought of it because you're absolutely right. I would never go all the way down to the transfer station.
Yeah.
But that's just an emotional thing. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But I recognize that there are other facets to make this work.
Are you on Galloping Hill Road by any chance?
No, I'm on Mountain Wall.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
I ride my bike up there.
At the stop sign.
Can I add a perspective? Because when we talked to Bill Gerber, one of his reasons for wanting us to move forward with only two right now to start was to get a sense of what the issues are. Are people leaving bags? Does it get full and we can't, get someone out there to pick it up that day? What are the pros and cons? So he was sort of seeing this as a trial run to see what problems are there, so we could then correct it and fix it if we were to put more out throughout the town. So that was his vision.
But he he was suggesting 2 and not starting with 1.
No, 2 bins at one location. He was saying,
So he was suggesting only 1 location, so not Lake Mohegan and Brookside.
No, he's saying
one location,
with 2 bins. 2 bins, so that if the fill level is up on one, they can put it in the other.
I could wrap my head around that.
And they're really trying to get a sense of what could go wrong here. Let's figure it out now, and then if we
which is better because there's a permanency to the cement blocks there.
Yeah.
Well, and this came up because we were having a meeting about this grant application, which is due next week, and this is a much bigger project that would involve, if we're going to have composting here in town, we actually propose having 10 of these at 5 different locations, and we won't know if this happens until probably the end of the year, and it wouldn't actually be in effect until the middle of next year. So he said, well, geez, why don't we do 2 now, and get a sense on how many people are really interested in doing this? Because right now we're 200 tons per year of food waste from the schools is being picked up and going to either New Melford or Quantum. Something like 25 tons at the transfer station. We're imagining there's going to be probably at least 100 tons of people that aren't willing to drive down to the transfer station. So, yeah, this is really a trial, and frankly, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, well, okay, someone else will buy these bins from us.
So the question to the commission will be to approve a single location to be determined where 2 of the bins would go.
And without having us to provide our information.
Yeah, but we don't have to address that in the, if you want, you could state for residents, but that would be on there, but we're not going to provide that list.
Brian, I'll just say that if we're going to do a trial, I think there has to be a better spot than Lake Mohegan in those places. I go there all the time, and I don't think that's somebody that's going to the beach or somebody going for a walk with the dog is looking for in those locations. Not that I'm against it, but I just don't think that is a great location.
And that was my initial thought at starting at the other end of the parking lot. But then, if you look along the fence, there's a portage on there, and there's 2 garbage cans. I mean, there's nothing pleasant about those 2 things, and that's why I thought, well, geez, this additional thing, these containers may not be any problem at all. But I hear what you're saying.
I don't want to look at the Porta-John either. But some things are essential, you know.
Yeah, I know this Porta-John on Brookside is not.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing.
Why is that there?
So the new toilets are much better than the Porta-John. That's for sure.
But still closes.
But in essence, we would be considering this almost a trial run, right?
But again, there's permanent blocks.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, the concrete pad, of course, is not going to be that. If this doesn't work out, that pad will either remain or it could be demolished and taken away. But it's not going to be something terribly deep or huge.
Okay. So we know what we're being asked to consider. Does someone want to make a motion to consider that?
So now I just lost the agenda then. Sorry.
Did you repeat it?
Okay, now I'm here, I got it. So make a motion to place 2 food waste containers at a site to be determined. Do I need to do anything more than that?
For Fairfield River.
How are we going to?
But I thought we were.
Yeah, I thought, how are we going to?
But they're going to.
Oh, it's up to them.
For Fairfield River.
It's up to them.
But when you sign up, they're going to have to put in information. But
My first motion.
really no.
I know, that's what I was.
That wasn't already written out.
Pretty funny.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
How will we determine, if you don't mind me jumping in here,
We're not.
we're not going to, so who will determine the location? Me?
Oh, you and I. You and I are going to go for a walk.
Okay, fair. Just so everybody knows, I like the Brookside
I do
location
too.
better than Lake Mohegan. I think that makes a lot of
What's that
sense.
location next to the bathroom?
I think next to the bathroom
Okay.
makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that, and because you have permanent structures.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a place to pull over.
And you
Yeah,
get
place to pull over.
And you have the food trucks already there.
traffic
Yeah, I
both
mean-
sides of town.
There's things that make sense there.
It does. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
food
spot.
truck, that's right. Food truck will, does take up a lot of the space there.
Well, he parks right, in the pull-off.
Yeah, I know.
If
but
we
then
put
there's-
this on the backside,
I know, then there's 2 or 3, and you have the, handicap spots right there, okay.
Perfect.
All right, there is no public here, so back to the commission, all those in favor? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Good luck with the grant.
Still some work to
Thank you.
do.
The grant is, it's going to be, we're having, then we have to.
Baby steps will keep improving, but it's a good start.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
recycle this paper, I always do myself.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, next up, the Board of Education report.
All right, so a few things, especially since I missed the last meeting. Some of our biggest news right now is that I believe we are moving full speed ahead with a cell phone bell-to-bell ban, K through 12. So K through 8 is a definite. The high school is the part we're wrestling with, but I am very hopeful that we're ready to go with that. So that's a big update.
Will that be a lock it when you arrive?
That
or
we're still debating
turn
that.
it off?
I am
Or it's not allowed in the building, or?
elementary school not allowed in the building.
Oh, yeah,
Not
yeah.
expected in the bag, not expected on their person at all, and that includes watches. Middle school, the sense of the body right now is absolutely away bell to bell, but knowing that it is off in their bag because they're bound to use it after school, and that's okay, that seems to be the majority. And then the high school, there had been a lot of wrestling, but I think we have now landed on bell to bell, no use at all, but figuring out that's the last part we have to really wrestle with is the, yonder pouch or some means of securing it. I am 100% in favor of that, and we'll be making a motion to that effect on Tuesday,
And
but
will you-
I don't know yet.
Will there be a public hearing? on
Well,
this?
it's only through, so there's public comment at every Board of Ed meeting. And then we're talking about the rollout process and possibly having a town hall meeting in September, which, we do 2 town halls a year anyway. And, we might say especially, if you want to come and talk to us about this, but usually our town halls are just any finance programs or facility issues. So,
I think it's a great idea, but I envision it, a lot of parents saying, what if I have to get a hold of little Timmy or Susie during the day?
yeah, and I'll try to keep my patience with that one.
Yeah.
Call the
Call
office.
the office.
No, what we know is that it's going to be a significant culture change.
What is it like in the high schools? I'm just curious, because I only have a middle
Ridiculous.
schooler.
I have a-
Is it, because middle school, they're really good about it.
About the taking phone calls?
No, they put their phones in their lockers and,
Some of them do.
my
They need to be better.
my son is like so scared.
I can reach my kids any time of the day on the phone at high school.
Oh, you can?
Oh,
okay.
I text them, they get back to me
Maybe
like,
turns it off and like puts it in the
Oh,
locker.
well.
My sister just retired from teaching at Sanford High School.
Okay,
Yeah,
just cell phones out.
the entire time.
Oh my god, yeah, that's
Watching movies,
crazy.
and there's really nothing, no discipline.
That's
they just-
crazy.
Where is that?
At Sanford High School.
Wow.
I go insane.
And she was, that's why she said, I've had enough.
Yeah.
So,
So-
okay, go ahead, sorry.
So, no, it's fine. So plan to move ahead with, this is something which actually is not a voting item for the board. This is something that the superintendent has committed finally to doing. However, which I think totally makes sense, he wants to make sure that the board has his back as we move forward. So we haven't had a formal vote or anything like that, but it's a sense of the body, and I think at this point we're now unanimously behind him, which I'm delighted by. We're also taking care of our budget in terms of adjusting that after the few cuts we had, but it looks like everything we're coming up with is nothing that is directly affecting kids. So it's nothing I think that's that interesting to this commission. You may have heard about the education bill that passed the House in Connecticut, was blocked in the Senate. That would have addressed racial imbalance, because right now we had a 1-year stop until July 1st, 2025, a pause, because of course we are still racially imbalanced. There was something in that, what was passed out of the House to put a pause might be the wrong word, but a pause until 2029. But again, it never got voted on in the Senate. So right now, as of July 1st, 2025, we are back racially imbalanced, needing to come up with a remedy to that. So I can't tell you what we're going to do about that because we don't know. That's currently.
That's been how many years?
Say it again?
That's been how many years?
That we've been racially imbalanced, at least 2007?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, is my guess. So we did a couple of changes we've made. We have just passed a policy where Board of Ed members. We did just have our student awards ceremony, which was a great celebration. The working group for the town is still working on a couple of projects that people are keenly following in terms of the ECC and Dwight. We are expecting a report on that in early August, and then we'll, as a board, be making some decisions about what to move ahead with. And various facility issues that are going on. I know that Chiller just arrived at McKinley, and not sure about how the other things are. I tried to ask Angela for an update, and all I got was things are moving ahead. So I can't say anything about any other facilities. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? All right. The director and program reports and approval. So there were 2 approvals. The Commodore John Barry commemoration from the Ancient Order of Hibernians and the annual plant sale, Greens Farms Garden Club.
Very exciting stuff. Ms. Brown, you're up.
Anything else?
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling here in Parks and Recreation. It's our busiest time of the year between all of our programs, our event calendar, all of our facilities, the beaches, the marinas, the golf courses, the driving range. Even though the weather has been less than ideal, we are doing really, really well. It's great to see people out and recreating. We've gotten great positive feedback about upgrades, whether it's the playground at Lake Mohegan, the new concessionaire at Penfield Beach. This week, the office has been really busy as we gear up for camp, which has been really exciting. And yeah, I don't know if anyone saw any of the social media or the buzz surrounding the town hall meeting we had maybe 2 weeks ago about the new adaptive recreation center that we're working on. That was like an all-hands-on-deck type of an event. So the team really came together and really hit it out of the park with that one. So it's something to be really proud about, really excited for. We had our Open Hearts event, and again, it was about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. It was really successful, very well attended. It was so beautiful, you did so great. So yeah, it's a really exciting time. It's so funny though, we're in the peak of summer and gearing up for fall, winter. So we're getting all of our content together for our fall, winter brochure, which is going to be our first community services brochure, a great way to market kind of rebranding of our department to be falling under the greater umbrella. So super exciting time.
So I live in the neighborhood where the I guess senior housing or the adaptive. What was that space prior?
The pilot house for the last 20 years, which served the special needs population. So similar population, but privately run and leased separately.
Okay. Just hoping you weren't kicking old people on the street.
No. And to that, the property manager there contacted me last week and just was sharing their excitement and enthusiasm for the new building and the new plans that we're doing, and they would love to be involved in any way that they can and be able to attend different things there. So I reassured them that we would absolutely be in touch and work with them. So
nice.
Yeah, there's an off-topic question, and since I think I'm still considered one of the newer members here. Off of Brooklawn, when you go to Villa Avenue, why did they construct? I don't know if you know the answer.
I do know the answer.
Construct the I don't know if it's called islands or raised medians. Like, why would they do that near the road?
Yep. So they're trying to slow traffic down.
That's what I was thinking.
So, as part of my role, I also sit on the Fairfield Traffic Authority, who works with different departments, police department, engineering department. The engineering department took that one by themselves before the FTA was created, and that's exactly what they did. Yeah, so they filled those medians in now because they were just concrete barriers, but they've
the right and left and the middle.
Yeah, just trying to narrow that traffic.
All that traffic that comes and maybe cuts through in the morning, goes to 95 from there.
Yep, and we've had neighborhood requests asking us to install stop signs on some of those side streets as well, because that's where everybody cuts through. So we're weighing all those options right now.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And last but not least, anything for the good of the order? None? Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.